Jake wiped sweat from his forehead, looking out at the countless stars shining through the thick glass of the space station window. He was a technician, not a hero, just an ordinary guy who fixed broken machines and kept things running smoothly in this corner of the galaxy. Life aboard the station was usually quiet and predictable, exactly how Jake liked it. But today he felt uneasy. An alert flashed on his screen. A stranded vessel had just sent an emergency signal, and it was his job to respond. He grabbed his tools and hurried toward the docking bay. His heart beat faster as he thought about what he might find. The ship waiting in the bay was clearly alien. Its sleek silver body shimmered softly, even under the harsh station lights. Jake had seen many ships come and go, but nothing like this. It looked both powerful and delicate, and its design was unlike anything he'd encountered before. Cautiously, Jake stepped into the ship through the open hatch. Inside, the atmosphere was dim and quiet. Strange symbols glowed faintly along the walls, guiding him deeper into the ship. He moved carefully, unsure of what to expect. "Hello?" Jake called softly, his voice echoing slightly. "I'm here to help." He heard movement behind him and spun around quickly. Standing there was an alien woman, her figure illuminated by the soft glow of the ship's interior. Her skin was a soft shade of lavender, her eyes wide and cautious. She stood still, watching him closely. Jake realized he was staring and quickly looked away, embarrassed. The alien woman tilted her head curiously, her voice gentle but uncertain. "Why are you looking at me like that, human?" Jake cleared his throat, trying to steady his voice. "Sorry, I didn't mean to stare. I've just never met someone like you before. I'm Jake, the technician sent to help with your ship." She seemed to relax slightly at his words. "I am Lyra. My ship stopped responding to commands, and I could not repair it myself." Jake nodded, offering her a reassuring smile. "I'll do my best to get your ship back up and running. Can you show me where the controls are?" Lyra motioned for him to follow, guiding him through corridors that felt both alien and oddly comforting. As they walked, Jake noticed more of the strange symbols, each one pulsing gently as they passed. It felt as if the ship itself was alive, reacting to their presence. "This is where the trouble began," Lyra said softly, pointing to a complex array of controls. Jake studied the panel carefully, his trained eyes quickly finding signs of damage. It was clear someone or something had intentionally sabotaged the ship. "Lyra, has anyone else been aboard recently?" Jake asked carefully, not wanting to alarm her. She shook her head, looking troubled. "No one. My mission was peaceful. I was sent to explore and learn about other species." Jake frowned slightly, examining the controls closely. "Someone didn't want you to succeed. This isn't an accident. It was deliberate." Lyra looked startled, her eyes wide with worry. "Who would do such a thing? Why?" Jake shrugged, feeling uneasy again. "I don't know yet, but I'll fix it. We'll figure out the rest afterward." He began working diligently, replacing damaged components and rewiring broken circuits. As he worked, he found himself explaining each step to Lyra, hoping to ease her worries. She listened intently, occasionally asking questions that showed her sharp intelligence and curiosity. "You are very skilled," Lyra observed after some time. Her voice had warmed considerably, losing much of its initial caution. Jake chuckled softly. "It's just practice. Humans have a saying, 'Practice makes perfect.'" Lyra tilted her head again, thoughtful. "An interesting philosophy. My people believe perfection is impossible, but striving toward it is noble." Jake paused for a moment, looking at her with new admiration. "That's a nice way to think about things." Lyra smiled gently, the first real smile he'd seen from her. It changed her face completely, making her appear even more graceful and kind. Jake quickly looked back at the controls, hoping she hadn't noticed his embarrassment. After a few hours of meticulous work, Jake finished repairing the control panel. He stepped back and took a deep breath. "There, it should work now. Try activating your systems again." Lyra pressed a series of buttons, and the ship hummed softly back to life. Lights flickered and brightened, the soft glow filling the entire room. Her expression lit up with relief and gratitude. "You have saved me, Jake," Lyra said warmly. "I owe you a great debt." Jake shook his head, smiling shyly. "No need for debts. Helping each other is what we're supposed to do." Lyra watched him closely, something unreadable in her eyes. "I have heard stories about humans, some good, some not. But you are different from what I expected." Jake felt a surge of pride and something else he couldn't quite explain. "I'm just doing my job." She stepped closer, looking into his eyes with genuine curiosity. "Is it normal for your people to show such kindness to strangers?" He hesitated briefly, then nodded firmly. "Most humans are kind at heart, even if they don't always show it. We're not perfect, but we try." Lyra's eyes softened further, and she looked away thoughtfully. "Perhaps there is much our people can learn from each other." Jake nodded, suddenly hopeful about the future. "I'd like that." As they stood there, smiling awkwardly at each other, another alert sounded on Jake's communicator. It was a priority message from the station commander, urgently requesting his return. "I need to go," Jake said regretfully. "But I'll come back soon and make sure you're all right." Lyra smiled again, her expression filled with warmth. "I would like that very much, Jake." He turned and made his way out of the alien ship, his thoughts filled with new possibilities. Something told him that meeting Lyra was just the beginning of an extraordinary adventure, one he was eager to experience. Jake hurried back to the station, thoughts swirling around in his mind. Meeting Lyra had been unexpected, but he felt glad for the chance encounter. However, the urgency of the commander's call troubled him deeply. When he reached the command center, Jake saw Commander Harris pacing anxiously. The older man stopped and looked relieved when Jake entered. "Jake, we have a problem," Harris began without wasting time. "Another alien ship just appeared nearby. It's much bigger than Lyra's ship, and they're demanding we turn her over. They claim she has committed serious crimes against their people." Jake's heart dropped. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Commander, I spent hours with Lyra. She doesn't seem like someone capable of such things." Commander Harris sighed deeply. "I don't want to believe it either, but we must proceed carefully." "We need to find out the truth," Jake nodded firmly. "I can talk to her. Maybe she can explain." Commander Harris considered this briefly and agreed. "All right, Jake. Talk to Lyra, but be careful. We don't want another interstellar incident." Jake rushed back to Lyra's ship, finding her pacing nervously. She looked up immediately when he entered, sensing his anxiety. "Jake, what is wrong?" she asked quickly, stepping closer. "Another ship arrived," Jake explained carefully. "They say you're wanted for crimes against their people." "I need to know the truth, Lyra." Lyra's eyes filled with fear and confusion. "Jake, I've never harmed anyone. My people sent me out to learn and build friendships. It must be related to the sabotage. Someone wants me silenced." Jake believed her sincerity instantly. "I trust you, Lyra, but we must convince the commander. Do you have any proof?" Lyra thought carefully. "I have recordings from my travels and communications with my home world. Everything is documented." Jake felt relieved. "Good. Bring them quickly. We'll show the commander and clear this up." Together, they hurried to the command center, carrying Lyra's evidence. Commander Harris reviewed the recordings carefully, his brow furrowing as he saw proof of Lyra's innocence. "This does change things," Commander Harris admitted slowly. "But the other ship is very insistent. We need to know why they want you so." "Badly." Lyra looked troubled. "Perhaps they fear peace between our people. There are factions who benefit from ongoing conflict." Jake felt determined. "Commander, let me speak to them. If we can find out what they truly want, we might solve this without violence." Harris nodded slowly, impressed by Jake's courage. "All right, Jake, but stay cautious." Jake took a deep breath. preparing himself for the challenge ahead. I will. Soon, Jake was standing in front of the communication screen. The alien commander appeared stern and imposing. "We demand you surrender the criminal immediately," the alien stated firmly. Jake spoke clearly, trying to remain calm. "We have reviewed Lyra's records. She is innocent. There must be a misunderstanding." The alien commander scowled. "You humans interfere where you don't belong. Surrender her or face consequences." Jake stood his ground. "Tell me, why do you truly want Lyra? Who benefits if there is conflict?" The alien hesitated briefly, eyes narrowing suspiciously. "That is not your concern," Jake persisted, sensing the alien's uncertainty. "Conflict harms us all. Lyra wants peace. Who fears this peace so much they'd risk war?" The alien commander glanced away, revealing doubt. "We have orders." Jake seized the chance. "Orders based on lies serve no one. Together, we can uncover the truth." The alien commander paused, clearly conflicted. "I must discuss this further," Jake nodded respectfully. "We will wait for your reply." The screen went dark, leaving Jake anxious but hopeful. Turning back, he saw Commander Harris and Lyra, looking at him with admiration. "That was brave, Jake," Harris praised. "You've given us a chance." Lyra stepped closer, her gratitude clear. "Jake, your courage is inspiring." "Thank you." Jake smiled modestly. "I'm just doing what's right." They waited anxiously as minutes stretched into hours. Eventually, the alien ship sent another communication. Jake felt his heart race as he approached the screen once more. The alien commander looked less stern this time. "We examine your claims. It seems there is indeed deception among us. Someone seeks to provoke conflict." Jake felt relief wash over him. "We can work together to find those responsible and stop them." The alien commander nodded firmly. "Agreed. Cooperation benefits us all." Commander Harris stepped forward, nodding appreciatively. "We'll share resources and information. Together, we will uncover the truth." As the screen darkened again, Jake turned toward Lyra, smiling warmly. "See? We did it." Lyra's eyes shone with relief and gratitude. "Yes, Jake, because of your belief." "In me?" Commander Harris placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. "You handled this well. I'm proud of you." Jake felt a warmth in his chest. For the first time, he realized his simple life had changed dramatically. He was no longer just a technician. He'd become someone who made a difference. Later, alone with Lyra, Jake spoke quietly. "You know, before today, I never thought about meeting someone from another world. Now, I can't imagine not knowing you." Lyra smiled gently. "Our paths crossed for a reason, Jake. Maybe to teach our peoples the power of friendship and trust." Jake nodded thoughtfully. "I like that idea." Outside, the vast galaxy continued its silent journey, full of endless possibilities. Jake looked at Lyra, knowing their story was only beginning. Whatever came next, he felt ready, excited by the promise of new adventures and strengthened by the bond they'd formed. "Together, we can face anything," Jake whispered confidently. Lyra squeezed his hand warmly. "Yes, together, Jake, always." Jake woke early, unable to sleep after everything that had happened. Thoughts of Lyra and the uncertain situation raced through his mind. He dressed quickly, heading toward the station's central hub where Lyra was staying. He needed to see her again to reassure himself that she was safe. As he entered, Jake found Lyra sitting alone, looking out through the large windows at the stars. She turned toward him, her eyes brightening with warmth. "Jake, you came," she said softly, relief clear in her voice. "I couldn't stay away," Jake admitted, moving to sit beside her. "I needed to be sure you were all right." Lyra smiled gently. "I'm fine, thanks to you. But I worry about what will happen next." Jake sighed. "Me too. Whoever is behind this won't stop easily." Just then, Amy and Lucas, Jake's close friends, entered the room. They had been told about Lyra and had come to offer their support. "Jake, Amy greeted warmly, then turned to Lyra. You must be Lyra. We're glad to meet you. Lucas nodded respectfully. Jake told us everything. You're among friends here. Lyra's eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you. It's comforting to know I'm not alone. Amy spoke firmly. We'll find out who did this and stop them. Jake felt encouraged by their determination. First, we need information. Lyra, can you tell us more about who might want to sabotage your mission? Lyra thought carefully. My people are peaceful, but some leaders fear losing power if we build friendships with other species. A few powerful figures benefit from isolation and conflict. Lucas frowned deeply. We have similar problems among humans. Sometimes people in power want to keep things the way they are. Jake nodded. Exactly. If they convince everyone that aliens are dangerous, it keeps them in control. Amy stood up decisively. Then we must find proof of who's behind this. We can't let them win. Lyra agreed strongly. I have more detailed records stored on my ship. Perhaps they can help us uncover the truth. Jake felt hopeful again. Let's go then. The sooner we act, the better. Together, they made their way back to Lyra's ship. Jake entered first, ensuring everything was safe. Lyra led them to a hidden control room filled with various screens and glowing panels. These records detail my mission and communication, Lyra explained, activating a screen that displayed numerous files and messages. Perhaps they contain clues. Amy began examining the information closely, her sharp eyes catching important details. Quickly, Lucas focused on sorting and organizing the files to make their search easier. Jake stood close to Lyra, offering silent support. Look here, Amy said suddenly, pointing to a message. This is strange. It seems coded or altered. Lucas quickly decoded the message, revealing startling information. It's an instruction sent secretly to someone aboard your ship, someone working against you, Lyra. Lyra's eyes widened in shock, but I was alone. Jake shook his head, concerned. Someone accessed your ship remotely, tampering with your systems. Amy continued examining more messages. This goes deeper. Someone in a high position from your world sent these orders. They're planning to blame you for crimes you never committed. Lyra looked devastated. They want to ruin our chance for peace. Jake took her hand reassuringly. We won't let that happen. We need to send these records to both human and alien leaders. Everyone needs to see the truth. Lucas nodded firmly. I'll prepare the files for transmission. As they worked, Jake noticed Lyra seemed troubled. Lyra, what's wrong? She hesitated, looking away briefly. Jake, this conflict might endanger your people too. I never wanted that. Jake gently squeezed her hand. We're already involved. It's about justice now. Our people deserve peace as much as yours. Lyra's eyes softened, grateful for his understanding. You're right. Together, we'll stop those who want war. Amy called them over. The files are ready. We're sending them now. Lucas activated the transmission, and they waited anxiously as the data was sent across the galaxy. Soon, confirmation arrived that multiple star systems had received the information. Jake sighed in relief. Now, we wait. Suddenly, an alarm sounded throughout the ship. Jake rushed to check the controls, alarmed by what he saw. Someone's boarding the ship, he shouted. Before anyone could react, the door burst open. Several armed aliens, clearly from the opposing faction, stormed inside. Their leader pointed his weapon threateningly at Lyra. Your efforts stop here, he declared coldly. You will. Come with us. Jake stepped protectively in front of Lyra. We won't let you take her. The alien sneered at Jake. Humans shouldn't interfere. Step aside, or face the consequences. Amy and Lucas moved beside Jake, their expressions determined. We stand together, Amy said bravely. The alien hesitated, clearly surprised by their defiance. Lyra spoke firmly. From behind Jake, her voice unwavering. Your leaders fear peace, but your people deserve better. Think about what you're doing. One of the alien soldiers shifted uneasily, doubt crossing his face. Their leader glared at him sharply, sensing his resolve weakening. "Don't listen to her," he ordered harshly. Jake spoke softly but firmly. "She's telling the truth. We've sent proof of your leader's lies everywhere. Your people will know the truth soon." The leader hesitated, uncertainty flickering briefly. He lowered his weapon slightly, confused by the human's words. "Lies," he muttered, though less certain now. Lyra stepped forward bravely. "You can end this. Join us. Help your people find peace." For a tense moment, the room fell silent. Slowly, the alien leader lowered his weapon completely, doubt filling his eyes. "Perhaps you're right," he admitted grudgingly. "We have been deceived." Jake felt relief flood through him. "Then help us fix this." The alien nodded slowly, signaling his soldiers to stand down. "We will investigate your claims. If true, we will support your cause." Lyra smiled warmly. "Thank you." After the aliens departed peacefully, Jake felt exhaustion and relief wash over him. He turned to Lyra, smiling tiredly. "We did it," he said. Softly. "For now, anyway." Lyra smiled gently back. "Yes, because we stood together." Amy and Lucas joined them, looking proud and relieved. "We're stronger together," Lucas agreed. Jake looked around at his friends, both human and alien, knowing their bond had grown stronger. Their struggle wasn't over yet, but now they had hope. Together, they would face whatever came next, united in friendship and trust. Jake woke up feeling uneasy, his thoughts filled with recent events. The danger they faced seemed to grow every day, but at least they had allies now. He rose quickly, getting ready to meet Lyra, Amy, and Lucas at the central hub to discuss their next steps. When he arrived, Lyra was already there. Deep in conversation with Amy, Lucas stood nearby, carefully watching data on a large screen. They turned as Jake approached, greeting him warmly. "Jake, we've been discussing our next move," Amy began immediately. "We need to keep pressing forward. The longer we wait, the greater the risk." Jake nodded. "Agreed. But how do we find who's really behind everything?" Lucas pointed to the screen. "I've analyzed the data further. It points to a specific location on Lyra's home planet, a hidden facility used by powerful figures to control information." Lyra looked worried. "That place is heavily guarded. Only authorized people can enter." Amy shrugged determinedly. "Then, we'll find a way in. We need solid proof that will convince everyone." Jake stepped closer, thoughtful. "Maybe there's someone we can trust there, someone willing to help us." "Lyra, do you know anyone who might sympathize with our cause?" Lyra thought deeply. "There's one person, an old teacher of mine named Elder Rin. He always believed in peace." "Can you contact him safely?" Lucas asked cautiously. Lyra nodded confidently. "Yes, we have a secure way of communicating. I'll reach out immediately." While Lyra moved aside to send her message, Jake glanced at Amy and Lucas, his expression serious. "Even if Elder Rin helps us, getting inside won't be easy. We'll need a solid plan." Amy crossed her arms, looking determined. "We'll create a distraction. Something big enough to get attention, but not hurt anyone." Lucas smiled knowingly. "I might have a few ideas." Lyra returned quickly, smiling slightly. "Elder Rin has agreed to meet us secretly. He says he has important information." Jake felt relieved. "Good. Then let's prepare quickly." They gathered their supplies, carefully planning every step. Soon, they boarded Lyra's repaired ship and set a course toward her home world. The journey passed quietly, each lost in thought about what they faced ahead. Upon arriving, Lyra guided them carefully through hidden paths to a secluded place on the outskirts of a large city. Elder Rin was already waiting, his expression calm but serious. "Lyra, my dear, it's good to see you safe," Elder Rin greeted warmly. Lyra hugged him briefly, clearly relieved. "Thank you for helping us, Elder Rin." Elder Rin looked closely at Jake, Amy, and Lucas. "You trust these humans?" "With my life," Lyra replied firmly. Elder Rin smiled slightly, nodding approvingly. Then so shall I come. We have much to discuss. He led them inside his modest home, carefully sealing the doors. Elder Rin activated a device that blocked any surveillance. I have learned troubling things, Elder Rin began solemnly. Powerful members of our government have allied secretly with others from various species who benefit from constant conflict. They fear peace because it would weaken their control. Jake listened closely, anger rising within him. They're playing with lives for their own gain. We have to stop them, Elder Rin nodded seriously. I have access codes to their facility, but you must move carefully. If caught, there will be severe consequences. Amy stepped forward bravely. We're willing to take the risk. Lucas agreed firmly. This proof is our best hope of ending the conflict. Elder Rin handed them a small data device. This contains everything you'll need to navigate inside safely. Be quick and careful. Jake took the device gratefully. Thank you, Elder Rin. The Elder smiled kindly. You represent hope. Remember that. With renewed determination, they carefully approached the facility under the cover of darkness. Using Elder Rin's codes, they bypassed security measures, silently moving through dim corridors. Inside, they found the main control room, filled with advanced equipment monitoring communications and surveillance. Lucas immediately began gathering crucial data while Jake and Amy stood guard. Suddenly, alarms blared loudly. Jake's heart raced as footsteps rushed toward them. Lyra acted quickly, sealing the doors temporarily. We must hurry, she urged desperately. Lucas worked frantically, quickly transferring the evidence to their portable device. Almost done. Just as he finished, the doors burst open. Guards flooded into the room, weapons drawn. Jake, Amy, and Lyra stood protectively. In front of Lucas, their expressions defiant. Surrender now! The lead guard commanded harshly. We won't, Jake declared firmly. We have proof of your leader's lies. People will know the truth. The guard hesitated briefly, doubt flashing across his face. Our orders are clear. Lyra spoke urgently. Orders built on deception serve no one. Think carefully. A tense silence filled the room. Slowly, several guards lowered their weapons, clearly uncertain. Their leader, seeing their hesitation, scowled. In frustration, you fools, he snapped angrily. Don't be deceived. But Jake saw their resolve weakening. This proof is undeniable. Help us stop this madness. Finally, the guards stepped aside, letting Jake and his friends leave safely. As they quickly exited, Jake felt relief wash over him. They returned swiftly to Elder Rin, sharing the evidence they'd gathered. He examined it gravely. This will expose everything, Elder Rin said quietly. We must act swiftly. He transmitted the data to trusted leaders across multiple planets, ensuring widespread awareness of the truth. Soon, reports began flooding in as the deception unraveled publicly. Jake, Lyra, Amy, and Lucas watched news screens displaying widespread reactions, relief, and anger at those responsible. A sense of hope filled Jake's heart. Lyra turned to Jake, gratitude shining in her eyes. We did it, Jake. Jake smiled warmly. Because we believed in each other. Amy and Lucas joined them, celebrating quietly. Elder Rin approached, looking pleased. You have given the galaxy hope, he praised warmly. The bonds you built are stronger than fear. Jake felt proud yet humble. This is just the beginning. Now, we must help everyone heal. Lyra took his hand gently. Together, we will show our people a better way. As they stood united, looking toward the future, Jake felt certain they'd overcome any challenge ahead. Their friendship and courage had changed everything, lighting a path toward lasting peace. Jake felt the weight of responsibility as he and his friends prepared for the journey home. The mission to Lyra's planet had been successful, but the danger wasn't completely gone yet. There were still powerful people unwilling to accept the changes they caused. As they flew back, Jake looked at Lyra thoughtfully. She seemed relieved, yet he sensed she still carried worry deep inside. He gently touched her hand, drawing her attention. Lyra, what's bothering you? Jake asked softly. Lyra sighed quietly. I'm glad we revealed the truth, but I'm worried. Real change takes time, Jake. Our enemies won't give up easily. Jake squeezed her hand reassuringly. You're right, but we won't either. We've shown everyone what's possible. Now we have to keep proving it. Lucas turned from his controls, overhearing them. Exactly. We have to stay alert and ready. Amy nodded firmly. We'll face whatever comes next together. When they finally arrived back at their space station, Commander Harris greeted them warmly, looking relieved to see them safely returned. You've done incredibly well, Harris praised sincerely. Your courage has inspired many people. Jake smiled modestly. We couldn't have done it without each other. Commander Harris nodded in agreement. Indeed, but now we face the task of maintaining this peace. We must be ready for those who oppose it. They spent the following days strengthening the stations, defenses, and carefully monitoring incoming information. Reports of peaceful demonstrations and political reforms on Lyra's planet spread quickly, giving them hope. One evening, as they reviewed reports, an urgent alert sounded. Commander Harris appeared tense as he explained the situation. We've detected a small fleet heading toward us. Their signals indicate hostility. It seems those who oppose peace are moving openly now. Jake felt his heart pound, but he stood steady. We knew this might happen. Lyra moved beside him, her expression determined. We must defend ourselves without losing the peace we've built. Commander Harris agreed. Our goal is protection, not aggression. Prepare defensive measures. Jake, Amy, Lucas, and Lyra quickly joined station personnel in preparations. The station's defensive systems activated, readying for possible attack. Jake moved quickly, checking systems and ensuring everything functioned correctly. As the fleet approached, their communication system activated, and a familiar hostile face appeared on the screen. It was the alien commander who previously attempted to arrest Lyra. You think you have won, he snarled angrily. But true power remains with those willing to use force. Jake spoke calmly and clearly. Violence isn't power, it's weakness. True. Strength is protecting peace and unity. The alien commander sneered. We shall see. The screen went dark and the tension rose sharply. Moments later, alarms rang out as enemy ships fired upon the station. Shields absorbed the initial impact, but Jake knew they couldn't withstand continuous fire. Stay calm, Commander Harris instructed. Our defensive measures will hold. Lucas carefully managed the shields, adjusting power to maintain maximum defense. Amy coordinated station personnel, efficiently organizing their actions. Lyra helped Jake monitor internal systems, her presence calming him despite the danger. Jake, Lyra said firmly, her voice steady despite the chaos. We must find a way to communicate with their crews. They're being led by lies. Jake hesitated briefly, then nodded firmly. You're right. If we can reach their people directly, maybe they'll understand. Quickly, Jake and Lyra established a broadcast to the attacking fleet. As enemy fire shook the station, Jake spoke urgently. We aren't your enemies, Jake insisted strongly. Your leaders fear peace because it threatens their control. Don't let their lies push us all into war. Lyra stepped forward, speaking sincerely. Our people share common hopes and dreams. Friendship is stronger than fear. Their broadcast reached every ship in the attacking fleet. Slowly, the firing stopped. Silence filled the space, tense and uncertain. Commander Harris watched closely, hopeful yet cautious. Then a new face appeared on the screen, a younger alien officer, clearly uncertain but determined. We've heard your message, he said cautiously. Many among us question the orders we've been given. We don't wish for war. Jake felt relief flood him. Join us. Together, we can overcome this. The officer hesitated briefly, then nodded decisively. We agree. We will stand with you. Jake and Lyra exchanged relieved smiles. Around them, cheers broke out among the station crew. Commander Harris visibly relaxed, impressed by the result. Well done. he praised warmly. Your words reached their hearts. In the hours that followed, Jake, Lyra, Amy, and Lucas met with representatives from the former attacking fleet, discussing peace and cooperation. They shared ideas, hopes, and plans, building new friendships and trust. Late that night, Jake and Lyra stood alone, watching stars quietly. Lyra spoke softly, thoughtful. It's amazing, Jake. We faced violence with words, and it worked. Jake smiled, gently, because deep down people want peace more than war. We showed them a different way. Lyra looked into Jake's eyes, her expression gentle. You've taught me so much about humanity. Jake shook his head modestly. I've learned just as much. From you, Lyra, friendship and understanding aren't bound by species. She smiled warmly, her eyes bright with emotion. Whatever happens, I'm grateful our paths crossed. Jake nodded firmly. Me too. We'll keep facing every challenge together. Amy and Lucas approached quietly, joining them. Amy's voice was full of warmth and pride. We're changing the future, she said happily. Together, we've made a real difference. Lucas agreed strongly. Our friendship is our greatest strength. Jake felt deep happiness, surrounded by friends who had become family. Their courage and unity had proven stronger than fear and hatred. He knew challenges still awaited, but together, they could face anything. As they watched the vast stars above, Jake knew their adventure was far from over, yet he felt certain that their bond would guide them safely through whatever lay ahead. Jake woke early, sensing something was wrong. The station was quiet, almost too quiet. He quickly dressed and hurried toward the command center. When he arrived, he saw worried expressions on everyone's faces. Commander Harris turned to Jake, his voice serious. Jake, we've just received troubling news. Several powerful groups from different worlds have joined forces against our alliance. They're gathering near Lyra's home planet. Jake felt his heart tighten. They had worked hard for peace, and now it seemed threatened again. We need to act quickly. Has Lyra been told? The commander nodded solemnly. Yes, she's with Amy and Lucas now. We must decide how to respond. Jake hurried to find his friends. Lyra looked pale but determined. Amy and Lucas stood firmly beside her. Jake, Lyra said softly, it seems our fight isn't over. Jake nodded, feeling protective. Whatever happens, we face it together. Commander Harris soon joined him, laying out a detailed plan. We must reach Lyra's home planet quickly. Diplomacy is still our best option, but we must be ready to defend ourselves if necessary. They quickly boarded their ship, and soon they were traveling through space again, tension heavy in the air. Jake sat beside Lyra, sensing her unease. He gently touched her hand, offering comfort without words. When they arrived at Lyra's planet, they immediately noticed several ships hovering ominously in orbit. Commander Harris signaled their peaceful intentions, requesting a meeting. Surprisingly, the opposing groups agreed to talk. Jake, Lyra, Amy, Lucas, and Commander Harris entered a neutral meeting space. Representatives from several species waited, their expressions hostile and wary. We've come here hoping to maintain peace, Commander Harris began clearly. War benefits no one. An opposing leader, tall and imposing, stood up fiercely. Peace weakens us. Unity steals our power. Jake stepped forward bravely. That's not true. Peace brings strength and understanding. We've already seen it work. Lyra joined him, her voice firm and clear. Our people want friendship, not conflict. Your power comes from trust, not fear. The leader sneered angrily. Trust is foolish. We cannot trust outsiders. Suddenly, an explosion shook the building violently. Alarms blared as everyone scattered in confusion. Jake quickly shielded Lyra from debris, guiding her to safety. Amy and Lucas helped Commander Harris evacuate others. What's happening? Lyra shouted over the chaos. They're attacking. Jake replied urgently. We have to get out. They ran through smoke-filled corridors, barely able to see. Jake kept Lyra close, determined to protect her. As they neared their ship, another explosion threw them apart. Jake landed painfully, his head spinning. "Lyra!" he called desperately, searching through the dust. He found her trapped beneath fallen debris, clearly injured. Jake quickly removed the rubble, lifting her gently. "Jake," she whispered weakly, "leave me. You must escape." "Never," Jake replied. Firmly, carrying her carefully toward their ship, Amy and Lucas reached them, their eyes wide with fear. "Jake, hurry!" "They're coming," Amy shouted urgently. Together, they reached the ship and Lucas quickly took the controls. They escaped the planet's atmosphere as enemy fire followed closely. Jake stayed beside Lyra, tending to her wounds carefully. "Stay with me, Lyra," Jake urged softly. "We're safe now." Lyra looked at him weakly, managing a small smile. "You saved." "Me again." Jake gently touched her face, worry filling his eyes. "I couldn't bear to lose you." Lucas guided the ship back toward their station, flying skillfully to avoid further attacks. Amy carefully helped Jake treat Lyra's injuries, reassuring him quietly. When they finally reached safety, medical teams rushed Lyra to the station's clinic. Jake stayed close, refusing to leave her side. Hours passed slowly as doctors treated her. Eventually, Commander Harris approached Jake gently. "Jake, Lyra will recover." "You saved her life." Relief flooded Jake. He nodded gratefully. "I'm glad she's safe." Commander Harris looked troubled. "We still face danger." Those groups had declared open hostility. Jake felt determination rise again. "Then we must face it." "Lyra believes in peace, and so do I." Days passed slowly, with Jake spending every moment beside Lyra as she recovered. Gradually, she grew stronger, her injuries healing. Their bond deepened through shared pain and courage. Finally, Lyra felt well enough to sit up, smiling warmly at Jake. "You stayed with me the whole time." Jake smiled. "Gently back, always." Lyra looked thoughtful. "Our fight isn't finished yet, Jake. We must continue." Jake nodded firmly. "Together we'll face whatever comes." Commander Harris entered with Amy and Lucas, all looking determined. "We have a plan," the commander began seriously. "Many worlds have joined our cause, ready to stand against aggression. But we need leaders who inspire hope." Lyra nodded, sitting up stronger now. "We'll be those leaders." Jake stood beside her, feeling pride and determination. "We've shown others what unity can accomplish. Now we'll show them true strength through peace." Lucas agreed strongly. "Our friendships have made this possible." Amy smiled warmly. "Together, we've already changed the galaxy." Commander Harris placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. "Your courage has made the difference. We stand ready because of you." Jake felt humble yet strong, surrounded by trusted friends. "Together, we'll face any challenge ahead." Lyra took Jake's hand gently, determination shining in her eyes. "Our bond is stronger than fear or violence." Jake nodded confidently. "And it always will be." They spent the following days carefully preparing their response, strengthening alliances and building confidence among supporters. Reports of growing support from various worlds filled them with hope. Jake knew danger still lurked, yet he felt ready. Beside him stood loyal friends, brave allies, and Lyra, whose strength and compassion had changed his life forever. Their journey had been difficult, filled with challenges and sacrifices, but their unity had always guided them through. Late one night, Jake stood beside Lyra, looking out at the vast galaxy. "Are you ready for what comes next?" Lyra smiled warmly, squeezing his hand gently. "With you beside me, I'm ready for anything." Jake felt deep peace in his heart, knowing their bond would guide them safely through whatever lay ahead. Together, they would face the future bravely, inspiring hope and peace across the stars.